Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today is another episode of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. Season 11, episode 12 is called Blinded by Love. So hopefully you got a chance to watch the episode. It comes out on Sundays, you can stream it on Mondays. And to be honest, excuse me, I don't think this episode gave a lot. I think it's giving just scratching the surface of what we're going to see coming up starting next week to conclude the season. Because, I don't know. I find Shekinah and Sarper just going through the motions. I find Juan mainly going through the motions. I find Matt, Amani, and Annie, their storyline has been just a little bit sketchy to me from the beginning. Mark and Mina, it's giving the exact energy it's giving older man, younger woman type thing. Stevie and Mahdi, there's some energy going on here really on both sides that, again, I've said it before. If they make it to the tell-all married, I'll be surprised. And then, Shawn and Alliya, filler. That's just how I feel about Shawn and Alliya. That's just me. Could have left them out with the love and the paradise type thing and just go from there. So, all right. Well, we can just go through this right now. I'm not going to keep y'all. But thank you to everybody that's watching live and everybody that's on the replay. Don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. All right. So let me just go ahead and get started. Not going to keep y'all. Like I said, it wasn't that big of an episode where a whole lot happened. So I'm just going to start with Shekinah and Sarper. Okay. So they're still arguing for the last couple of days. And Sarper's talking about he's feeling depressed because, he can't do anything. He can't work. He's just always with the dog. He can't do anything because he don't have a green card in America. They're not married. So really he feels like he's stuck. And so I guess all that has come up and he's like, oh, but I'm depressed. And Shekinah's like, I get it, but aren't you, enjoying the time here in LA? And aren't you, happy going to parties and meeting new people? She goes, it's not my fault that you can't work right now. So why are you taking that out on me? You talking about how I'm dressing. You talking about about the dog and the dinners and different things like that. Now, last week, I thought they were the way they were sitting, I thought that maybe they were in a therapy session group. They weren't. They were just sitting around talking in Shekinah's shop. And one of the things that Sarper said to Shekinah was, if we ever break up, I guarantee you'll be crying over me for years. Shekinah was like, excuse me? You think I'm going to sit around and cry for you for years like I can't find another man? I'm like, I don't know. The way you kind of chase Sarper, you might cry for a little while, but years is a little bit much. Sarper's ego is very, very inflated. And, he's telling her that he wants the Shekinah that he met in Turkey. He wants that Shekinah. He goes, even though he believes they're soulmates, it's just that right now things are going left and he's not sure what's happening. But at the same time, Shekinah's like, you know what? I really didn't want to get married. Okay. She said, I was fine doing what I was doing, but now that we only have 90 days and I want to be with him, she goes, I never thought I would, cross that line and be married again. So I think all this will blow over and eventually they'll do what they do best, because Sarper's always talk about their chemistry from A to Z, and they'll work that out. So, all right. Now let me move to Shawn and Alliya. I just don't understand why Shawn is just so perplexed that Alliya wants to have surgery to transition. Am I saying that right? Right. Transition into a woman. Okay. He's like surprised. I mean, she wants breast augmentation, and they're going to visit a surgeon today on the episode to also get information about maybe gender reaffirming surgeries and things like that. And I'm like, why, Shawn, is this so hard for you to understand? She's been talking about this a long time. Matter of fact, when you met her, she was living her life as, what was her name? Was it David, Daniel, something like that? And now she's Alliya. Come on now. Like, what are you expecting? Like, seriously, what are you expecting? And Shawn was like, in confessional, he's like, well, you know, it would be a lot different for me because, you know, I met him. Well, he says him one way, and now she's Alliya, and I'm used to, you know, being with a man in that way. I'm like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like I said, for me, this is just for, I don't know, it's giving check for Shawn for his businesses or whatever. And Alliya is just going with the flow. She has someone that's much older who's willing to give her the gifts that she's wanting. And, you know, that's the type of relationship they have. And to be honest, I'm just not a fan of the Shawn and Alliya combination. All right. Let's move to Greg and Joan. So Greg, believe it or not, got a call back from the state. I guess he got that job, even though when he went on an interview, he had on that wrinkled shirt and them saggy jeans or whatever. But maybe he said whatever he needed to say, and maybe there were people who weren't as qualified that came on after him, and he got a job, which he does need. Okay, because listen, he's trying to marry Joan, who, you know, whose family requires a dowry. And she's requesting 12 to 15 cows. And I looked it up last week. Her family's from Uganda, and a cow in American money is about $1,000 per cow. And Greg has only saved up $5,000. So Greg definitely ain't got it. Okay. Excuse me. So to celebrate the job, Greg has decided to give Joan an experience up in Manhattan in New York for a quick getaway to celebrate. He's like, you know, even though I don't have enough money saved up, I'm still going to, you know, go up here and have a good time. Plus, she's never been here. So, you know, he's telling her the different slangs like, forget about it. And, you know, I'm walking here, you know, stuff like that in a New York accent. And Joan is trying to, you know, say it the way that Greg is saying it for her. So when they get to Manhattan, or to see the lights and the different places that Greg is taking her to for authentic pizza and different little things, Greg has just decided that, you know what, I'm cool. I know I don't have it, but I still want to celebrate. And I'm like, the way that Greg had the room set up, the trip, you got to have gas money, you got to pay for the hotel, all that, that should have been your honeymoon. Okay, because your mom and your dad has already given you the money to help you out with your wedding and the venue and stuff like that, because you have to pay the dowry and you don't have enough saved up to even move out. So this should have been like your honeymoon. You know what I'm saying? And your parents only required you to pay $1,000 out the $5,000 you have saved up, $1,000 to put towards your honeymoon. You know, the rest towards the dowry and whatever. So okay, I'm like, all right, well, do it big then, Greg. Do it big. Okay. Let's move to Jessica and Juan. So they go looking at their wedding venue. And Jessica said when she saw the wedding venue, which is in Colorado, and she lives in Wyoming. I don't know how far the wedding venue is from where they live to wherever. It seems like it's a good little drive, though. She's like, I saw the wedding venue in the fall, but it'll be different to see the venue in the wintertime, because when they're getting married, it's going to be winter, and the winters are known to have lots of snow and stuff like that. And I mean, she's like, it'd just be like a winter wonderland. I mean, I guess outside in the snow, I mean, different venues for different people, different what you like or whatever. But even the person that was, I guess, that was hosting the venue or whatever was like, well, if it gets too cold, we could put on the, what do you call those? The outside heaters for the guests. And if it starts to snow, they could give you blankets. And if it really starts to snow and drizzle, we give them umbrellas. I'm like, why don't we just put it on the inside? You know what I'm saying? But she did say if there was a blizzard, she'd move it to the inside. I'm like, I'll just be waiting for y'all on the inside. Because listen, I'm not a snow, cold type weather type girl. Okay. So I would have to be on the inside. So as they're looking around, Juan is kind of disappointed because the different venues and things, well, the way that they have it set up, or not, with the lack of traditions. He's like, how come there's nothing here incorporated from Colombia? How come there's nothing here with my food and my culture? And Jessica has a point. She's like, we've been trying to plan a wedding for 2 years and you've not said anything to me about it. But, did she ask Juan if he wanted anything from his culture too? But apparently not. Apparently they're on 2 different pages like they always have been. You know what I'm saying? I just honestly think that this relationship was supposed to stay on the cruise, but things happened and now they're a big family, right? Another family member. They have a baby now. And so Juan is keeping a secret from Jessica. And that is, he actually heard back from the cruise line that wants to offer him his job back. And Juan is bored in Wyoming. He's not making no money. He wants to save more money to support Jessica and the family, but he's not sure how Jessica will take it. But if he don't tell her, he's not sure how she's going to take it. So either way, he needs to tell her, right? Well, later in the episode, Juan ends up going to the gym with Megan, who Megan is Jessica's ace, her everything. Jessica's friend Megan told Juan that if you even mess with my girl, I'm coming for you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know who set up the gym date with Megan's husband, but I was like, I hope this goes well. So Juan ends up telling him that, hey, Tamika, Juan ends up telling Megan's husband that, he got a job offer on the cruise ship and that, he was really thinking about taking it, but he wasn't sure how Jessica would feel about it. I'm like, you just have to say it anyways. If that's in the best interest for you, do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it's going to mess with the green card application or the 90-day K1 or whatever's going on, but he got to do what he's got to do because Juan is very unhappy. You can see it. And, it's a slower lifestyle. I remember when they came on their first season, Jessica and Juan, when Jessica told Juan that there was more cows than people where she lives. Yeah, that sounds like it's real fun. All right. Let's go ahead and move to, I'm just moving right through this to make anybody else watching. All right, I'm just moving right through this, and we'll be back next week, large and in charge. Yes, Juan is miserable. Let's move to Matt, Amani, and Annie. So Matt is still in his feelings because he's the third wheel. Okay. So his wife has to text Annie and arrange a meetup and set up a date so Matt could feel like he's not really the third wheel and be like, hey, I like you too. But just the body language, it didn't work out. Matt was like, oh, because I'm jealous. I mean, that's obvious. Your wife likes the girlfriend and the girlfriend likes your wife more than they like you. I mean, I'm guessing because I've never been in that type of relationship and not interested. But if that's you, right? Somebody's going to like somebody more or not. You know what I'm saying? So in this case, it just happens to be your wife and girlfriend liking each other. And you sitting there moping around and calling your friends and stuff, wondering why, the girlfriend don't like you. If she's going to be with us and we're giving up everything. I have kids. Listen, you knew you had kids anyways. You came on the show knowing you had kids. Who knew how it was going to make you look? All right. You're exposing yourself. So is your wife. So miss me with all that. Say, Tamika, you say, I hope he don't divorce his wife and marry her. It'll be a nightmare for them. Exactly. So, I'm just like, I'm really over this storyline for now. Now, next week looks like it's going to be interesting, but I'm just like, I don't care that Matt is on the hamster wheel, that his feelings are hurt, that, he's the third wheel. Okay. But if your wife is happy, now what? Because your wife seems to be happy with her. So, anyways, Annie and Matt have this little outing and, on the beach, and he's feeling a little bit better. And I'm like, how are you feeling better? Because things are still the same. But once that scene went over, later when Matt gets back home, turns out that his wife, Amani, had called one of Annie's exes, Ray, and arranged to meet up with him without Annie knowing, to find out like why, because Matt and Amani send Annie money. Like, why does it have to go through Ray, and why does all this have to go through him, and how come it's not going through Annie? And like, what's, there's like, oh, there's red flags. I'm like, oh, you just now seeing there's red flags? Just now? Oh, okay. Is it just me? I'm trying not to be cynical, but I mean, it's like, you just now seeing this red flag? She's been like, oh no, don't want you to meet my family right now. Oh no, this, oh no, that, just constantly having an excuse as the reason why. So anyways, Amani and Matt end up going down to Guadalajara and meeting up with Ray. When Ray comes in, they're like, that's Ray? Because apparently the picture that Annie has in her phone of Ray isn't Ray. I would like to see what the picture is, because they was like, who? That's him? Like, ugh, like, why would she be with him? Kind of. I'm like, girl, your husband is not exactly, in my opinion, the prize either, but you with him, so what difference does it make? So anyways, it leaves on a cliffhanger with them, because Ray says that, yeah, we know Annie as Brenda. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to move to Mark and Amina. So Mark is away for 5 days for a job. So I guess he's flying his private pilot's license, flying people around. Now, let me say, when Amina was in the house, and she was looking at all the different pictures on the wall. So Mark has been flying planes for a while, and he's got lots of pictures of different dignitaries, former presidents, and different pictures like that on the wall. Now, when she saw Kamala Harris's picture, former vice president Kamala Harris, she's like asking her daughter, she's like, Maria, who is this? Who's this lady? Who Mark didn't tell me about her? I was like, wow, like it didn't even like register. But then again, we don't know the lifestyle that she grew up in. But here's the thing, though. So apparently Mark lives in this neighborhood, and the neighborhood is giving retirement community, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it just is. Okay, because Mark is in that age range too, but he still works a little bit, freelances from time to time. So apparently Mark has set up a crochet, what do you call it? A stitch and bitch. That's what they called it, with Nina and friends. Okay. And Nina's daughter and whoever. So she takes Maria to go find out where the lady house is, and she can't find it. So she got to call Mark. And Mark's like, the way he's talking, like, he got to get off the phone. Okay. So she finally finds it, and the ladies are in there with the stitch. They have their crochet, doing whatever they're doing, needlework, right? Now, I'm going to say, I've always thought it was interesting to do crochet and needlework. I don't know how people could get those little things to be. I always thought that was interesting, but it's not for me. Okay. So if you could do it, cool, right? And I'm like, everyone in that room, except for maybe Nina's daughter, is about, and there's nothing wrong with this, because we all should strive and want to get older one day, like 60 plus. I'm like, what did he think that Amina would have in common with them? But anyways, I think that Amina, she got a lot more support than she thought she would, because they were real upset about Mark. Had the lady crying, the main lady, Nina, crying, because she was like, I cannot believe he got you here with, you have one kid here, you have a kid over there, back at home, and you are dependent on him, and like, that just hurts my heart. I'm like, she knew what she was doing when she got with Mark and coming over to America for a possible better life. Okay, so don't feel bad for her. Don't feel bad for her. So Amina got to talk about the prenup and how she didn't want to sign it at first, and the only way she would sign it is if Mark illegally adopted her son, Clayton. And I'm like, y'all didn't talk about that before you came over? You didn't talk about, him coming here, and when he does come here, like, you would adopt him and all that stuff going forward? Because I'm like, these conversations are coming up like really after the fact. Yeah, she knew what she was doing, Tamika. After the fact, these conversations were coming up, and I just didn't understand it. But those ladies, especially Nina and Nina's daughter, was like, you need to let him know. You need to let you that you're not about this, and that he's gonna do this, and you, whenever you need to come over here to bitch, that's what you do. I was like, okay then, all right. Well, that's the house to go, because they're like, these pilots are atypical and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Amina don't care about that. Amina probably barely understands what you're saying because her English isn't the best. And I'm not talking about her, but it's not. Okay. So we'll see next week what Mark decides when she drops the bombshell of wanting him to adopt her son, Clayton. All right. I think this is it, because I told you I was moving right along, because I don't think a lot happened. So we'll be back next week. Finally, Stevie and Mahdi. What'd you say, Tamika? She never came without her son. She's just going to be just like Jasmine. Exactly. Finally, Stevie and Mahdi. So Mahdi wants an apology from Stevie because a couple days ago, he found out that she was, drawing women in the nude and making have busts, literally, of them in the nude of their body shape, stuff like that. And in his religion, it's forbidden to dip in the lady pond or to dip in the man pond. And Mahdi feels like Stevie's hiding something from him. He feels like she's living the bisexual life, and he's just not for that. He thinks that he's being set up. And I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, I think that whether she possibly could have allegedly explored whether she was younger, older, whatever, it's giving that type of energy, because she's very evasive. She's like, why? If I say yes, then this could be speculation. If I say no, this is speculation. But beating around the bush every time you're asked is the speculation. So it doesn't matter if you say yes or no. I'm automatically not going to believe you based off the energy that you're giving. And she's just always just trying to push it down. And Mahdi is like, I need to know. So she gets them smoothies and they walk around talking. And it's just the fact that, again, Mahdi feels like he's being bamboozled, that Steve is not on the up and up. And again, like I said, she's giving dishonest energy. Would you say, Tamika? He's trying to find an out. He doesn't want to be there. I think so too. Well, shoot, to me, he's got an out. The alcohol drinking, the, drawing women in the nude, that's your out. If that's against your religion, that's your out. And, Stevie's like, he grew up very conservative, so he's always been open-minded. I mean, does he sound like he's been open-minded by the things he's been saying to you since he's been on the show about the things that he don't want, shouldn't occur, let me know, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. So no, he grew up in a certain way to think. Now, he may have had different thoughts because everyone doesn't think A, B, C, D, but still, and she definitely, to me, gives off dishonest energy. And I just think she just wants to be married. So, I mean, really, That was the episode. Oh, did I talk about Shawn and Alliya? I think I did. If I didn't, Alliya's trying to get, I think so. I talked about them. I'm tired of Shawn. I'm tired of him trying to act like he don't know what's going on, that she don't want to transition. Miss me with that. Shekinah and Sarper will more than likely get married. Greg and Joan should save that trip to New York for the honeymoon because you need your coin. Jessica and Juan, I think Juan needs to be 100% honest with Jessica and let her know he's unhappy and he feels like he needs to make some money. Next week is their bachelorette party. He's going to tell her after the fact. And then next week, we're going to find out who Brenda really is. And if Mark is going to consider adopting Clayton, Amina's son. And we're going to be introduced to, I think it's going to be one of Stevie's friends, to give his opinion on the relationship with him, Mahdi and Stevie. So you're tired of Shawn too? Me too, girl. I'm tired of them too. So really, that was it for this episode. Just moved it right along because it was just a filler episode. Hopefully next week we will see the truth of what's coming on with Brenda and Clayton and all the different things like that. So if you join me live, I really appreciate it. If you're on the replay, I appreciate that too. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share. And you know what? We'll have more to talk about next week. So thank you for joining, everyone. Have a good, safe evening, and I'll see you next time. Good night, everyone.